which is from the Antichrist. We don't want to go into that yet. We're not even maybe touch on that tonight. Yeah. But just think what you just said, because I'm thinking about, okay, so I've actually seen where they've said like Solomon's lineage. Mm-hmm. Say you to take all those names and write them in their Hebrew equivalent, but then change it to the numbers and punch that code in, man.
Wow.
I'm just saying, has anybody done that? Am I the only guy? There has to be smarter people than me. There has to be smarter people than me that thought to take the original 8 books, to flip it to numbers, and to punch that numbers. That means there's a code there. That means the Bible is a code, basic instructions before you leave the earth. That's what a lot of people say a proper acronym is for it. Yeah. But what if it is? What if there's a deeper message in the numbers?
I think someone may have tried to do that. Isn't that what the Da Vinci...
Is that what that is? I don't know. Sure. That's what I'm asking, because I just, when you said it was so profound, because I'm like, man, see, that's what the important thing in life is, perspective, man. And a lot of times what we as people, and an ego does it, is we sit here and we think our perspective is the only perspective, and that's such an immature.
Malachi is
the last?
Yeah, the last.
I'm going to look that up, man. I'm going to look that up and see, has anybody ever flipped it to the Hebrew numbers and actually inputted it and see what they came out with. It's amazing, because everything in the Bible is based on numbers. Numbers are very important. Numerology.
Yeah.
I don't know, but is it numerology? See, and that's where a lot of confusion comes in. Is numerology is the study of numbers?
Yeah.
And that's not like, we're not supposed to study numbers like that.
No, not like that. I think if I'm not mistaken, I believe, well, this is just how I see it. I think there's a right-hand side and there's a left-hand side. And this is no diss against all you southpaws out there. But, you know, there's what God has, sanctioned. And then there's what the
earth,
as we can maybe word it, the false duplication thereof. So God is love, right? But then you have on the other side of that lust, which
duplicated love.
It's a very cheap knockoff version, So that would be an example. So, as I believe and as I've studied, there's a numeral spiritual equivalence on the side of God, but then you have also, on the other side, you have numerology, which has its value in like a whole other part of spirituality, on the left hand side, or what would be considered the dark arts or whatever. Just like you have astronomy as opposed to astrology.
Yes,
one is a science and the other one is maybe some would even consider astrology a science, the horoscopes and everything else. But that's an example. Those are things that God was clear to stay away from. You know what I mean? Stay away from these, things. And that was one of the ones that was mentioned. But yeah, there's most definitely, two sides of it. You know what I mean? There's the right hand, left hand. There's power on both sides. And that's one of the reasons why in these times right here, I'm not really tripping off of a dude that can levitate, or a dude that can actually, like magicians and David Blaine and Chris Angel and Domino and all these other dudes. It's like I don't trip off of that, Biggie, because there is power on that side, and so a lot of people are drawn to that power Whereas I'm looking at it from, a logical angle, and I'm like, out of the two, I'm rolling with the one that's, the most powerful, as say, opposed to something that's less powerful. You know what I mean? So, like in what was that? Exodus, when Moses was before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh's magicians were, out there, and they was doing their thing with the canes, and threw the canes down on the ground, and they turned into
snake serpents.
Yeah, But then Moses threw his down, and his turned into a snake as well, and his snake ate both of the others, which was like very telling. That was the indication right there that, there's power on both sides, but one is stronger. And here's one thing that is an unknown. When two powers collide, the weaker one must bow. You
see nature, you see everything.
Yeah. And so if the author of everything, I'm rolling with that, as opposed to something that can give you partial power.
Or temporary power.
Yeah, very temporary. You know? Which then I go back into the whole thing of like academia. Academia is one of the demonic kingdoms. So when you start to break down like Masonic or Masons or whatever, like the cap and gown is Masonic. Just even in its design. Look it up. Or what I find is funny is that you go to school or college, higher education, to get what? A degree. Mm-hmm. And then you eventually wind up with a master's degree.
Well, as the Masons say, they are the light, and the light is the knowledge.
Is knowledge, right?
But is it the right knowledge? It is. They say it's the light, but there are many lights.
There is a great debate right there. You know what I'm saying? You know how many educated dummies that I've met over the years, just as in, and I don't mean that in any disrespect, as in anyone who's quote unquote educated or they have their a degree. I may or may not be speaking about you. That being said, I've seen people. I've grown up with people from childhood. We got baptized at the same time and everything else. Go through high school, 12 years of, education. Mm-hmm. Then, they dip off to a college and they become too smart to believe in God. Like, now they've stepped onto a campus which is very hostile towards God and the Bible. Very hostile. And after 4 or 5 years of that, and the whole Grove system, and the bachelor degree, which is, stems from Bacchus.
Bacchus the guy? Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's a...
as far as hostility, hostility comes from a trigger. I'm not going to go into specifics, but if you throw some literature and I don't believe in it, I don't care. I'm not going to get specific because you don't. There's some pretty powerful groups out there, and they all hand literature out in different places. When somebody hands me literature, I don't get defensive. I'm just like, okay, I'm very dismissive. So I'm thinking if people are hostile to something, there's something deep inside that's fighting it.
Right.
Because you're not hostile to anything you don't believe in. If somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh man, you Pittsburgh fans suck," like I'm from Jersey. Yeah, but you're next to Pennsylvania. Okay, well I like the Eagles. Well, no. Okay, I'm just going to dismiss you.
Right.
But if somebody says, "Hey man, the Eagles suck," like, hey,
right.
Hey,
right.
You watch, hey,
right.
That's enough. But why?
Right.
Because that's something inside me that I believe in, and you're going against a belief. Okay,
right.
So that's what I'm saying. You're definitely right. Here's why I went to college. Okay, I went to college because when I was younger, I knew that everybody didn't get the benefit of the doubt. Right. There were things like racism. Right. There are things like sexism. There are things out there that you have to overcome.
Right.
So I said, if I get this college degree, you at least have to give me an interview. If I don't get this college degree, you can say no to me.
Gotcha.
And over 85% of the times, I know why you said no.
Right.
But if I get this degree, you have to at least give me an interview.
Right.
And that's all I need. And I'll get it.
Right.
Like, I'll get it. You can't. Okay, I can't. But if you're not going to give me the opportunity, I can't get it. Right. If I get that opportunity and I get in the door, I'm going to nail it every time.
Right.
Because I know who I am.
Right.
As far as being smarter, look, I was smarter than a lot of my teachers. But I didn't care.
Right.
I just wanted to sleep. I wanted to get this piece of paper and get out. I wasn't proving anything to anybody. I mean, I wasn't even a great student. I think in the University of South Florida, I was a pretty high C student. But I didn't care. I didn't care about I didn't care about having a great GPA or anything like that.
But you know what they say, right?
What do they say?
C's get degrees, baby.
That's all that matters. Because I actually tried to make the honor roll one time and I just barely missed it. Or there was one time I got all B's. But what happened one time was I remember I was taking a communication class and there was this big auditorium. I feel like 300 people. The professor was very cool. Was a woman. She was a very cool woman and very nice. Anyway, so when we had the exam, they just took the exam and she passed it around 300 people. You can't watch 300 people. So I remember sitting back there and this fraternity started passing the test around. They actually started sharing the test. They had the answers. They had the answers to the test. And I was like, man, now I know the game. Because nobody's ever going to know that they cheated. All they're going to see is the degree.
Yeah.
All they care about is the degree.
Right.
They don't care how you got it.
Right.
They just care that you have it.
Exactly.
And that's sort of like you ever go to a concert or something and you just have the wristband? Thank you. You have the wristband or you have, and they don't care, where you, as long as that wristband is yellow, right, you get in this section.
To get in the club.
They don't care where the wristband came from. Okay, the club, exactly. There's different levels to these clubs. Now,
exactly.
After I saw the whole bachelor's degree thing, I said, because, they wanted me to go back and get my master's for a credential to be a teacher.
Right.
I was already hit by the game.
Right.
Like, why am I getting a master's degree when I've been a teacher for years and years and years, and now all of a sudden I got to pay, $20,000 to get something I've been doing? Okay, that's a scam.
Right.
You're scamming me.
Right.
I had to get it before, but I don't have to get it now.
Right.
Because I can do the job.
Right.
I'm an effective teacher.
Right.
So you're saying I have to go back to school. Why? So you can make money off of me.
Of course.
So,
of course.
What colleges are is they're money-making institutions. What you're paying for is that piece of paper. Why are you paying that piece of paper? Because an agreement was made a long time ago between these industries and colleges. Right. It's a business agreement. AT&T, Apple, all these, they make agreements with the universities. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, you have to accept this degree.
Right.
Well, they have to get them then. Okay, well, you got to get a degree to work for us. Okay, I got it, yeah. Right. So it's symbiotic. They work together. Right. Just like, for example, student loans. You're giving a student loan of $30,000 to an 18-year-old.
Right.
What you're doing is you're putting them in debt.
Of course you are. So
then that means that the student loans, working with the college, is working with that collection. It's a business.
That's what the American dream is. I mean,
the American dream is a setup. Buy a house, 2 cars in the yard, send your kid. It's all unobtainable things that you would work to help your whole life to try to get.
Listen, you just nailed it right there. You, purchase a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a part of the quote unquote American dream, right? So you get like what? A 20-year, 25-year, sometimes a 30-year fixed loan or subsidized, unsubsidized, or FICA, whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
So they got you locked in for 30 years. Before that, though, you attend a college for what? 4 to 6 years.
Basically, it's going to be like 5 years,
right?
5.5 years.
Right?
Yes.
So to get the fancy ride, right? You're making payments on something either 4, 5, or 6 years, right? Mm-hmm. So cars nowadays, like something like right off the lot, you're not driving off the lot with all the bells and the whistles for, I'm going to say, anywhere from 30 to 45. 35,000 to 45, 50,000, and that's just on, something that would be a lower end luxury.
Here's the thing.
Now, look, 5 years locked in to a car payment, 35 to 50,000 a year, and then you got your student loans, right? You've graduated, but you owe what? Anywhere from like
about 50 to 70,000.
Easy, and then depending on what your major is, it could be up over,
and both of them depreciate.
100,000.
Once you drive a car off the lot, it depreciates. Once
right.
your college education also depreciates because you constantly got to go back and get more training and get another degree because a bachelor's is not it anymore. Now they want a master's. If you don't have a master's, you are antiquated. The whole American system, because let's go over something too, and it's not downing America, because we're both Americans and we love America. I love it. It's the best country in the world, in my opinion. We couldn't do this in any other country. We'd probably get raided. But what I will say is this. You get suckered into the American dream, but you don't own the land. You got to pay property tax.
Right.
How can you pay tax on something that you own?
Right.
So but this is done right in front of people's faces. That's why it's so easy. Not to touch on the election right now. We can touch on it at the end, but things are done in the American people's faces that are so obvious, and people choose to be ignorant.
Right.
How are you paying for a house and you pay property taxes?
You know why?
Tell me.
Let me say it this way. We live in a so-called woke culture, right? Like everybody's woke. Like woke is this hip new. Oh, I won't say it's hip, but it's a fixture in the social and, let's say, cerebral posture and perspective of a lot of Black Americans, so-called African Americans, and then a lot of other folks as well. Woke would probably denote knowing things that or being aware of certain things that run up under what we would consider mainstream or the inner workings of motives of other people and all these things, right? Trip on this though. The American dream in this woke culture that we're in now. But in order to dream, or to have a dream, you got to be asleep.
Amen. Yep, that's it.
And so this is how I look at a lot of, and again, no disrespect. I am not, this is just my opinion, as in like what I see as in folks running to be in a debt. I mean, I'm talking about this is a race to see who can be in debt the quickest. You know, like the ambition to obtain the new car at whatever cost. Like you were saying, not really caring about how, but just the idea that you have it. Well, this is an inward, you were speaking about outward, like you're walking towards someone with the wristband, and the person sees the wristband, not caring how you got it. Okay, come on in. This is on the other side of that. This is the person doing whatever, trying to get to this point, whether it be quote unquote educated or now again, I'm not saying anything's wrong with smashing in a brand new ride or educating your own self or buying a house. All I'm saying is recognize what it is that you're doing. You are placing yourself into a certain amount of debt to achieve, and this is how it's all set up.
Lust of the eye.
So, yeah, exactly. So as long as you know this going into it,